My name is Mark Dean Veca, and this is my show, As Cold as They Come, at the Jonathan LeVine Gallery. As Cold as They Come is a title that I lifted from the movie The Godfather, and it's from a scene where Michael Corleone is being handed a .38 special that is untraceable, and so it's referred to as Cold as They Come. So that is the title of one of my paintings in the show, which is of a .38 Smith & Wesson .38 special snub nose, just the same exact kind as from the movie. Well, I actually always did like guns as a kid. I had like a BB gun that was a replica of a .45 automatic. And actually, this developed out of another show that I was doing, a group show, and the theme was The Godfather. So I was trying to think of an object that I could take and transform in some way. And I like the idea of the contrast of the hard edge shapes of the gun and the soft, sort of rounded shapes that I use in my work. So I did this one painting for that show and thought it was really successful. So I thought, what about doing a whole series and sort of using these guns, taking like famous sort of cinematic guns that have sort of become characters in and of themselves in the films. For example, Dirty Harry's .44 Magnum, and I did one of guns from Pulp Fiction, so sort of just went and explored that idea a little bit. Well, I had always wanted to be an artist ever since I was a little kid, and so that's what I always that was always my identity. So when I went to art school, I didn't really know what the differences were in the art world between commercial art and fine art, all these different things. I went to art school to be an illustrator, but ended up studying painting in the fine art department, and and then being very focused on making sure that I was always working and not having a full-time job, part-time jobs only, just so I wouldn't have any excuses and to let it get away from me, because I think that's easy for that to happen. And then, so I did that, and for a long time. I mean, it wasn't until I was probably 40 or so that I could make a living from my work, so that was maybe, well actually, roughly 40. So then my work started selling enough to where I didn't have to do other things, and once that happened, I had more time to work, I could make more work, and hopefully the work would get better, and I could sell more work. So it sort of snowballed in that way. And it is a little bit tough right now, or recently, a little scary because of the economy and the art market, everything changed. But somehow things keep falling into place. Yeah, I had done one painting of, similar to this, of Popeye that was in a show last year. And I decided to do a whole series of them. They're all based on toys. It's sort of, once again, like the gun, it's sort of taking an existing sculptural object and then using that as a format within which to improvise. So I took 5 of the characters from Popeye and did the series, which will also be appearing in Hotwire Comics as full-page reproductions. So that was part of the impetus that spurred these paintings. Well, when I work, I don't necessarily try to respond to the other artists or the art world. I mean, all of that enters into my work. As far as the world is sort of filtered through me in that way, and that's sort of how I approach it. But so that stuff is always there, what's out in the world. But I try not to let that specifically influence me, but I try to just sort of do what comes naturally. I try to do the work that I think that only I could do, something that's unique to me. And I just sort of try to let it happen. This particular image, I remember it from as a kid. I don't know if I ever saw the actual printed Roth drawing or any of his stuff at the time. It was just one of those things that kids would draw and pass along to the next person, and you'd see it and you'd think it was really cool and you would copy it. So I just remember this particular monster hot rodder from when I was probably less than 10 years old, and it made a big impression on me. So when I decided to do one of those hot rod monsters for this painting, I searched for that particular one and sort of used that once again as a structure within which to improvise. Well, this red is my favorite color, basically. I mean, I love that sort of red and orange. Is sort of like a cadmium red light. It's just like that's my favorite color. So I decided, actually, the evolution of that sort of scheme was that I liked the black and white. I just really love black and white. So I wanted to use the black and white for the objects. But then I decided, well, the whole piece doesn't have to be black and white. I can still have some color. So I wanted like a really punchy color in the background for these flat colors. I tend to do that. Come up with a palette that I like, and then just really use that for a while until I get burned out on it or something. I'd rather just pick something that works and just stick with that, and then focus on the drawing, which is really the most important part of the work for me. Sometimes I would go to art schools and do lectures and stuff, and I would say, well, if you're able to quit, you should quit. Just quit art. If you don't have to do it, just don't do it. Save yourself a lot of misery and save everybody else a lot of misery. If you don't have to do it, just stop. Because it's not fun and games. It's not really, people think that it's easy, and it's not. But if it's something that that you have to do, or you really, really are compelled to do, then yeah, it's just stick with it and work hard. I mean, there's actually this Bukowski poem. Now what I do is I say, what I just said about quitting, and then I also have this Charles Bukowski poem, which is called "Roll the Dice," and I wish I could remember it, by heart. But it talks about that kind of thing where if you're going to do it, and this is the advice: if you're going to do it, go all the way. Don't do it half-assed. Just do it and give it everything you got, or don't do it at all. That's kind of really what I'm saying.